sessions or really difficult tech interviews, I just judge someone's engineering abilities based on the conversation. It's very conversationally, if there's no such word. So it makes it harder, but that's how I enjoy it, and that's how we've had good people come help us. But I always tell them that I need your help a whole lot more than you need this position. I mean, hands down, right? So keep that in mind. That's very, very important to remember. And I hope I hit QuickTime record correctly. If not, I'm certainly not going to be able to re-speak this whole thing again. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the next item. Okay, make it a conversation, not so much an interview, right? What I mean by that is, and maybe that is the last item. Yeah, that is the very last item. It is an interview. Sure, you're trying to judge the other party, and sure, they are also trying to judge you, right? Because they have options. They have to figure out, should they be working for you instead of working for somebody else. But you ought to make it a conversation. So it's bi-directional, right? Everyone enjoys the conversation, because ultimately, whether the candidate clears the interview or they fail it, and it's not really a failure, because every failure, even if it sounds cliched, makes you better prepared for the next interview that you go to. So it's not really a failure. It just, these things didn't go your way, and that's a good thing, because you know what they say, right? One of those quotes that says, if you have something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it is yours. If it doesn't, it was not yours to begin with. And I very strongly believe that. I only ask myself how I could have done the interview better. Did I not do something correctly? And how could I have improved? There are times that you could have done some things differently, but that, to me, it shouldn't be like a hit or a miss, right? It should be a conversation for a half hour, 1 hour, whatever the length of time is. So you get to know each other better. So you know each other as people, and then you're like, hey, maybe you can help me, maybe you cannot. I think the whole thing hinges on credibility. I think if both parties are credible, it makes life easier. But that's not necessarily the world we live in, which is what makes it all the more challenging. And I don't want to believe this, but I feel like have we gotten to a point in the world where more of us are not credible than we were in the past, because the interviews have changed a whole lot in the last many years that I've interviewed, right? I've seen the trust factor. Like, I'm having to prove that I can code in this language or architect this or something else, and it's not me, right? It's because generally maybe there is general skepticism out there. Otherwise, why are we less reluctant to trust each other? And especially from a consulting standpoint, it baffles me, right? Because it's I'm sure with W2 it's a very more expensive proposition and process. I would imagine consulting, if Chris shows up and he has an written code and he's just fabricated this whole thing on LinkedIn, and everybody who's recommended somehow went along with that fabrication, or whatever, right? It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. So you've got to see what people claim to have done, what other people think that they have done, make some judgments, and then have fair questions to have a very enjoyable interview process. So at the end of it, regardless of what happens, both parties came out learning a bit better than what they did about various aspects and various aspects of life and various facets of engineering as well. I enjoyed a lot of the conversations during the last week and a half. Not all of them, I won't lie, but a fair number of them. But even the ones I thoroughly enjoyed, I was just wondering whether everyone would have, because they may have misconstrued the questions, right? Because it just depends on how they have posed the questions. So I think it's just because I may clear an interview or two doesn't make the process perfect, right? Or just because I fail an interview doesn't make it not perfect either, right? I honestly, trust me, believe me or not, I'm sharing all of this outside the context of my personal. I don't have an ulterior motive here, right? I know I can find work. A lot of us believe that in ourselves, right? Because we feel like we have a certain skill. We know we are honest. We know we are credible, and we know we speak our minds, and we know we'll put our best foot forward in solving the client's problems. So we will find work. It's only a question of, do we find what we actually enjoy doing and what we're looking for, or if it takes a little bit longer, right? Sometimes it takes like literally a couple of hours after you say I'm looking to find the the work that you're looking for. It literally happened to me 2 contracts ago. I think I was looking, and then someone reached out to me, and I had like a good 10 months. It's a great place to be, and sometimes it takes several weeks, right? It just depends on where you're at. This time around, it seems like the market's actually, it should be pretty good. Or maybe something about what I wrote or did recently may have picked someone's attention. So I'm not sharing this to find work, trust me. Certainly not, right? I'm just doing this so hopefully it helps you. If you're hiring someone, just make some adjustments to your process, or if you're a candidate, just to be aware of what you can expect. I'll do a couple of more videos speaking to the recruiters, speaking to candidates such as myself, but hopefully this added some value, and I'm just praying to God that this actually did record. And I have no idea how long this is. It's probably like 2 hours long. I don't know. But before I end, if you've gotten this far, you're a patient person, and I appreciate that. But I think probably maybe my mom watches this all the way through just because she feels obligated. But I don't expect everyone else to have sat through this whole thing. But if you did, just drop me a note, and I would really, really appreciate that. And before I end, I don't know. I usually do the product pitch, but I was just using the platform while I was doing it. So I think, you know what? I think that's all right. I'll skip it. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Have a good Thursday and a weekend. And this is the weather's looking brilliant, at least in the Washington D.C. metro, and a lot of people in D.C. over the weekends. And folks have started coming back to visit the museums and stuff. So it's a beautiful part of the world, Northern Virginia. If you have not come here, definitely visit us sometime. And if you're here, just hit me up and can hear more of my rambles, maybe in person or a cup of coffee. All right. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.